Hello friends, welcome to Insights ICANN initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about Supreme Court's observation regarding the immunities enjoyed by the legislators. Before we discuss further, first let us see the syllabus mapping. This particular topic is related to General Studies Paper 2 Polity, especially topics such as Judiciary and Indian Constitution. Then, in this video, subtopics are why it is in news, obviously Supreme Court observations and Supreme Court, this transferred this case from the 5 bench strength to the 7 bench strength. So this is the news. Then what is this Sita Soren case and what is the meaning of these privileges enjoyed by MPs and MLAs and why they quoted here PV Narasimha Rao case and what is the difference between the right to freedom of speech enjoyed by parliamentarians under Article 105 Clause 1 as well as the normal citizens under Article 19(1)(a). What is the difference between these two? And what is the significance about these immunities and what are the challenges in enforcing these immunities are we are going to discuss. So this particular topic is related to parliamentary privileges and which is mainly focusing on the PV Narasimha Rao judgment. Now, first, before we discuss why it is in news, let me put the context. What is the context here? The context is, first let me explain regarding the PV Narasimha Rao government case. PV Narasimha Rao case. I'll explain quickly, try to follow this. In the PV Narasimha Rao case, the INC government, the Congress government, they took help from Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, JMC, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, JMM MPs. JMM MPs supported in one of the issue to Congress government, and the JMM MPs they took money and they voted in parliament in support of INC. Okay, here you have to understand the people, the MPs who took the money out of them, the people who took the money out of them, few voted, and one member did not vote it. One member did not vote. Okay. Now, do you know the surprisingly who was the guilty here? The guilty here is the person who took the money and not voted. Whereas the person who took the money and they voted, they were not punished. Do you know why? Pause the video and think and put your opinion in the comments. Okay. You know why they were not punished? Because they took the money and they voted. That means their action is related to parliament. That is where this Article 105 Clause 2 come into the picture. Article 105 Clause 2 is saying that whatever the action done by the MP in the parliament or MLA's respective article in the assembly, that cannot be questioned in the judiciary. That is the reason, as their action is related to the parliament, even though they took the money, they did not punish because they enjoyed by the parliamentary privileges. They got immunity by parliamentary privileges because they took the money and they exercised the vote in the parliament. Whereas this person who took the money, but his action is not related to parliament, so obviously he did not get the parliamentary privilege. This was the main judgment. Now, the same case happened again recently in Jharkhand. Okay, it must be Jharkhand, Sita Soren case. Let me refer. Sita Soren is Jharkhand. Obviously, Soren means Jharkhand. Okay, in Jharkhand, what happened? The same way, this Jharkhand MLA took the money and this INC, they supported INC and they got caught. And she's claiming that in the PV Narasimha Rao government time, at that way, how the MPs did not get punished, how the MPs got immunity, in the same way she will also get the immunity. That is what her challenged. But of course, High Court dismissed her plea. High Court is clearly said that you cannot get immunity anymore. She challenged to the Supreme Court Constitutional Bench. And the Supreme Court Constitutional Bench now forwarded this case to bench which consists of 7 members. That is the crux of this entire video. Okay, now in this video, we are going to check why these people did not punish because of the parliamentary privilege. So we are going to discuss about parliamentary privilege. What are the collective privileges and what are the individual privileges? We will discuss. And this concept we borrowed from where? And In case if there is any conflict between the laws as well as parliamentary privilege, which one will prevail? That is also we will discuss. Okay. First, we'll jump into the why it is in news. It is in news that Supreme Court referred the case related to PV Narasimha Rao case. In this case, whether the legislators will enjoy the legal immunity from corruption. This particular issue been referred by the constitutional bench to the 7-member judge. Whether legal immunity can be enjoyed by the member of parliament or not, which is under Article 105, Clause 2, Assembly 194, Clause 2. And these articles are giving immunity even from taking bribe and exercising their vote in the parliament. So Article 105, Clause 2, it is explaining that members of parliament have immunity to protect themselves from criminal proceedings in case if their action is related to parliament. This was supported by the Supreme Court with 3-2 judgment, and they given immunity to the MPs. From which act? From the Prevention of Corruption Act. Not only from the Prevention of Corruption Act, any civil or criminal act, from that they can get the immunity if their action is related to parliament. Next, they voted to save then government and they got immune and they did not punish. Now the same issue is going to be examined by the 7 judges bench. Next, in Keshava Singh case, 1965, that means it was before PV Narasimha Rao government incident. In this case, Supreme Court mentioned that House, Parliament, because these parliamentary privileges are, they were made by the House. They are not present in the Constitution. Constitution saying only about Article 105, okay, and some provisions. But that extension to the Article 105, they were made by the Parliament. In the Keshav Singh case, Supreme Court clearly mentioned that House will be considered as the sole and exclusive judge. That means judiciary cannot interfere into the Parliament matters. Tell me, students, which article deals with court's exemption from the parliamentary matters? Which article? Put your answer in the comment section. This Soren case, I already explained. Soren, she voted for the Congress by taking the money, and High Court opinion that she will not get any immunity, and now the case is pending with the Supreme Court judge. Next, privilege. Privilege are the special rights enjoyed by the MPs. Here you must remember, according to Article 105, actually the source of parliamentary privileges source is mainly from Constitution under Article 105. According to Article 105, 2 types of privileges will be given by the Constitution, such as individual privilege and collective privilege. Individual privilege and collective privilege. So what are these collective privilege? Collective privilege is House has right to publish its reports, and if these reports are very sensitive, House may order the media not to publish the report also. But if the report is still important to public, then media can publish, in spite House order not to do. That was added through 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. Then what are the other collective privilege? House has every right to know about the information related to members' arrest, members' detention. Information they'll get. And one more collective privilege is, if any member is, or if any person is arrested within the vicinity of the House, before the arrest, the presiding officer permission has to be taken. This is also collective privilege, okay, regarding the arrest. And one more thing, that is, House can also conduct the secret sitting. This is also one of the privilege of the House. Whereas the individual privilege, what are the individual privilege? Member can have right to freedom of speech and expression, and he can vote in whichever the way he likes, if it is a secret ballot. But if it is an open ballot, obviously, member has to show their voting preference to the party agent. In case if the member is voting in contrary to the party order, then the member will be punished by using the whip. Okay, and the member will be disqualified. Under which clause, students? If member is not following the party order, he will be disqualified under which clause? 102 clause 1 or 102 clause 2? Which clause? Put your answer in the comments. Then individual privilege. Members will get immunity like free from arrest for 40 days before proceeding the session and after the session. It is applicable only to the civil case but not to the criminal case. So these are some of the privileges can be enjoyed by the members. Parliamentary privileges. And one more thing, students, these parliamentary privileges, even these privileges are also applicable to the people who are eligible to participate in the parliamentary proceedings. That means these parliamentary privileges are also applicable to Attorney General. But you have to understand, parliamentary privileges are not applicable to President. You know why? They are not applicable to President because President will enjoy greater immunities under Article 361. You know that under Article 361, no criminal case can be initiated against the President and Governor, and civil case can be initiated only with 2 months of notice. That you have to understand. So, as the President is enjoying greater immunities, these immunities will not applicable to the President. This concept we borrowed from the UK. And the sources to the privileges, constitutional provisions are there, various laws made by the Parliament, rules of the House, parliamentary conventions, and judicial interpretations. Judicial interpretation means cases such as P.V. Narasimha Rao case. So these are some of the provisions related to parliamentary privileges. And parliamentary privileges are given to MPs under Article 105 and MLAs under Article 194. I explained regarding these parliamentary privileges. And according to Article 122, judiciary will not involve into the any irregularities which are in the House, which are related to the procedure, day-to-day procedure of the House. For example, due to some disturbance in the House business, if few members were expelled out of the House, they cannot go to the courts, because courts cannot involving into the day-to-day business of the House. The same related to Assembly through Article 212. Then privileges mentioned in the Constitution. I clearly explained privileges mentioned in the Constitution, and these privileges are coterminous. What does it mean? It means these privileges are applicable as long as you are having the Member of Parliament membership. Once your MP membership is lost, these privileges also will be lost. Very important. Coterminous. Next, here I am saying that members are having the right to freedom of speech. Then what is the difference between the Article 105 clause 1 like this, and what is the difference between the Article 19(1)(a)? Okay, here you have to understand, students, freedom. Okay, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, two types. Article 105 clause 1, which given to parliamentarians, and Article 19(1)(a), which is given to anyone, citizens or foreigners. The difference is, okay, this is coterminous. Coterminous. That means as long as you are having the MP, you will enjoy. Otherwise, you won't. There is no provisions like no coterminous. No coterminous. This by default, it will be given to all Indians. And one more thing, here, no reasonable restrictions. No reasonable restrictions. That is the reason our MPs are behaving in unreasonable manner. You know that recently one MP, he was using some abusive language against another MP. But here under Article 19(1)(a), from Article 19(2) to Article 19(5), all these are the reasonable restrictions are there. Reasonable restrictions are mentioned. So this is the main difference between the Article 19(1)(a) and Article 105 clause 1. Okay, hope you understood. Significance of immunity. Why you have to give the immunity to the MPs and MLAs? So they can express freely and they don't need to be fear. That means fearless decision making. It promotes the effective governance, freedom of speech, and they are accountable to the people. So they should have absolute freedom to express about any grievances facing by the people who belong to their constituencies. Okay. Next, challenges. Of course, these are being misused. Like I said earlier, Sita Soren case, and it also reflecting the inequality before law, interference with the investigating agency sometimes, delayed justice. All these are the challenges related to parliamentary privileges. What is the way forward? The way forward is the parliamentary privileges were included with a broader objective, and you have to look them in a very, like a magnanimous way. They should not be interpreted in a very narrow manner. And in case any cases related to parliamentary privileges, they have to be, finished very quickly. It cannot be delayed. And anti-corruption laws should be given more priority over the parliamentary privilege. So this is about the parliamentary privileges and Supreme Court observations. And now let's see yesterday's video question. Consider the following statement about the Delimitation Commission. Out of this, which statement is right regarding the Delimitation Commission? Pick your answer. C. Answer is both 1 and 2. Now today's question. Listen. One of the implications of equality in society is the absence of. Okay. If you like to say society is equal, then which must not be there? Mains question. Without parliamentary privileges, MPs discharging their functions upon them by the constitution, they cannot discharge. Okay. They cannot discharge without parliamentary privileges. Substantiate your this statement. As we reach to the end of this video, let us revise quickly. In this video, we are referring the Supreme Court opinion regarding the P.V. Narasimha Rao case, and Supreme Court is shifting the case related to Jharkhand from 5 bench to the 7 bench. And we also discussed about the previous P.V. Narasimha Rao case and what are the privileges, individual privileges and collective privileges, why they are required, and what are the challenges in the privileges. This is a detailed analysis regarding the parliamentary privileges.